Hello students, welcome to VisionQ YouTube channel. আজি আমি আপোনালোকৰ লগত এখন ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট এছে ডিসকাস কৰিব লৈছো আমাৰ প্ৰিভিয়াস ভিডিওছত আমি অলৰেডি এখন এছে ডিসকাস কৰিছো হেখন হৈছে ব্ল্যাক মানিৰ ওপৰত আজি আমাৰ টপিকটো হ'ব স্কাৰ্স অফ unemployment আমাৰ টপিকটো হৈছে unemploymentৰ ওপৰত আমাৰ প্ৰিভিয়াস ভিডিওছবোৰ আপোনালোকে চেক কৰিব যত আমি কেনেকৈ এসএস লিখিব লাগে কেনেকৈ এসএস বুৰৰ বডি স্ট্ৰাকচাৰ লিখিব লাগে কৰিব লাগে আমি হিখিনি সমূহিয়াকৈ সকলো ধৰণৰ টাইপস এন্ড টপিকস বুৰ ডিসকাস কৰা হৈছে আৰু লগতে আমাৰ এখন এছে অলৰেডি ডিসকাস কৰিছো দ্যাট ইজ ইয়োৰ ব্ল্যাক মানি সো আজিৰ টপিকটো হৈছে আপোনালোকৰ unemployment so let's move to the video now so unemployment বুলি কোৱাৰ লগে লগে ফাৰ্ষ্টতে এজ এ এছে আমি তাতে কিছুমান ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট টিপস দিব লাগিব কিছুমান ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট বস্তু মেনশন কৰিব লাগিব যাৰ থ্ৰুদি আমি আনএমপ্লয়মেন্ট কি হয় কেনুকা হয় সেই বস্তুখিনি ধুনিয়াকৈ বুজি পাব পাৰো সো ফাৰ্ষ্টতে থাকিব আপোনালোকৰ ম্যানিফেষ্টেচন এন্ড ফ্যাক্টৰস মানে এইখিনি আপোনালোকৰ ইন্ট্ৰোডাকশন এটো আপোনালোকৰ ইন্ট্ৰোডাকশন পাৰ্ট হ'ব এছেখনৰ তো এইখিনি আপোনালোকে এনেকৈ ধুনিয়াকৈ লিখিব পাৰে প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিব পাৰে আপোনালোকৰ এছেৰ কাৰণে দ্যাট ইজ ইয়োৰ ইন্ট্ৰোডাকশন পাৰ্ট দেয়াৰ ইউ হ্যাভ দিস টু মেইন পইণ্টস দ্যাট ইজ ম্যানিফেষ্টেচন এন্ড factors that is about the unemployment amar jitu topic hoy hetur uporat so first apnalokor moi yate column banai disu present korisu apnaloke ekhini dhuniya koi follow kori complete koribo paribo that is one of the principal manifestations and factors contributing to the low levels of living in developing nation is their relatively inadequate labor inefficient utilization of labor in developed nation so ekhini hoise apnalokor manifestationer kotha mane principal manifestationer kotha so amar principal factor ba manifestation to ki hoise amar low level livelihood or karone hetu hoise nations on inadequate aru inefficient utilization of labor mane jote tote jodhai modhai jetia apnalokor labor use kora hoy labor implement kora hoy tetia amar ako basically developing nations burot problem hoy pore karon amar developing nations ok amak equal amount of labor lage bhalkoi kam khini niari koi koribo karone আৰু যেহেতু when we use it in a improper way not in a proper way in an inadequate way tetia amar problem to kota hi pore unemployment because there will be many more applicable person but there the problem will arise that it will be inadequately distributed so hekhini apnaloke introduction at use koribo ei portion to introduction at use koribo tate apnaloke title dhuniya koi manifestation bili di dibo because the manifestation will be the key point for your introduction next you have underutilization ami jehetu yate efficient utilization aru inadequate and efficient utilization or kotha patisu so amar next point to thakibo underutilization of labor is manifested in mainly two forms etia ahile jehetu ami unemployment or kotha discuss kori asu apnaloke employment and unemployment or kiman ki thakibo he bostu khini bhalkoi describe koribo libo the first one will be your underemployment and the next one will be your open employment so ami thoroughly baki khini yate discuss kori jam so next slide ot apnalokor ase underemployment unemployment aru open unemployment or kotha etia jehetu ami employment or unemployment or kotha discuss kori aso yate kisuman topics thakibo kisuman apnalokor parts thakibo jibur apnaloke thoroughly present koribo libo apnalokor essay khonot so that the evaluator can understand the thorough topic in a good way in a synchronized way so apnaloke under unemployment aru open unemployment or karone eneko dhuniya koi duta paragraph ot present kori dibo pare to first paragraph ot ki ase at first it appears or occur as an underemployment and people from both the rural and urban workers working less than they could to underemployment mane hoise ki manuhor kaam kora britti tu komi gose that is তেওঁলোকৰ কাম বহুত কমি গৈছে তেওঁলোকৰ তাত ক্যালিবাৰ আছে they have the quality but they are working less তেওঁলোকৰ কাম নহৈছে যেনেকৈ আমি एग्जांपल দিব পাৰো বহুতৰে ক্যালিবাৰ আছে বহুতৰে তেওঁলোকৰ কিছুমান আইডিয়াজ আছে পার্সপেক্টিভ আছে regarding their work but they are underemployed why because they haven't get the opportunity to work more তেওঁলোকৰ কাৰণে working environment নাই তেওঁলোকৰ কাৰণে তেওঁলোকৰ কামটো কৰিব কাৰণে কোনো ধৰণৰ job নাই ইয়াতে related and for that reason underemployment to besi hoy goise. The underemployment also include those who are normally working full time but whose productivity is so low that they would have a negligible impact on total output. আৰু এনুকা ধৰণৰ কামকো আন্ডাৰএমপ্লয়মেন্টৰ লগত তুলনা কৰা হৈছে যিবোৰ আমি নৰমালি বহুতখিনি কাম কৰো আমি দিঘলীয়া সময়ৰ কাৰণে কাম কৰি থাকো কিন্তু তেওঁলোকৰ প্ৰডাক্টিভিটিটো ইমান বেছি কমি গৈছে তেওঁলোকৰ প্ৰডাক্টিভিটি একেবাৰে নাইকিয়া হৈ গৈছে just because they are going through like a machine তেওঁলোকে মেচিনৰ দৰে কাম কৰি আছে just কৰিব লাগে কাৰণে কন্টিনিউ হৈ আছে সেই কাৰণে তেওঁলোকো আন্ডাৰএমপ্লয়মেন্টত ভুগিব লগিয়া হৈছে just because they are not working adequately according to their caliber. So, hekhini hoise apnalokor underemployment. So, apnaloke hohoj bhabe underemploymentor bikhoye eta paragraphot after the introduction apnaloke dhuniyakoi include kori dibo. Next, you have your open unemployment. Etia under unemployment by employment ami ki palu jibure kam koribo jane jibure kam bisari furise but teonuke kam nepaise aru logote enukao june full time kam kori ase but teonukor productivity nil hoy goise just because they are working like a machine. So next you have your open unemployment. So second form is the open unemployment. Those people are able and often eager to work but whom not suitable jobs are available. Ami বহুত example দেখিছো বাহিৰত পঢ়ি অহা লৰা ছোৱালীৰ কাৰণে ইয়াতে কোনো ধৰণৰ adequate বা suitable jobs নেথাকে আৰু যদিও থাকে তাতে আপোনালোকৰ experience and caliberৰ ভিত্তিত বহুতখিনিয়ে job নাপায়. So often eager to work. So open unemployment ki hoy jay they are often eager to work but they don't have any suitable kind of jobs for them. So teolukor productivity aru caliber tate naikia hoy jay. It is this form of underutilization of labor. So open unemployment is also called underutilization of labor, which is of our concern here. So open unemployment or main point to hoise main highlighted key point to hoise underutilization of labor because people are sitting idle in their home teonuke kaam koribo karne roi ase but they are not being able to work because they don't have suitable jobs for them. Open unemployment often includes skilled workers highly trained in sophisticated technologies with its ambit. So open unemployment or karone ki hoy enuka kisuman manuhe কাম নাপায় নিজকে হেক কৰি লবলগিয়া হয় just because they doesn't have any other kind of work to do. They are not used to do other kinds of work because they are trained in sophisticated technologies. বাহিৰত যেতিয়াই তেওঁলোকে ওলাই যাব তেওঁলোকে বহুত sophisticated ways of বস্তুখিনি শিকি আহিব যাৰ ইয়াতে কোনো দৰকাৰ নপৰে আৰু তেওঁলোকৰ কাৰণে only minimal wages of menial jobs কিছুমান present থাকে যিবোৰ তেওঁলোকে কৰিব নোৱাৰে. So after the introduction, you can directly move to the underemployment and that is open unemployment. Apnaloke ekhini bostu dhuniyakoi describe kori dibo, nijor bhasha dhuniyakoi tuli dhoribo and give examples, give adequate example of each and every kinds or every types of employment. Apnaloke dhuniyakoi example kisuman present koribo jate relevant hoy jay topic to apnaloke jitu discuss koribo bisarise jitu bostu apnaloke present kori ase ase khonot hekhini jate relevantly ulai pore hekhini bostue dangi dhoribo. So next move to our next slide where we have talked about the observations. Now observations or underot ki ahibo observations or underot ahibo je ami iman khini bitorot ki dekhilu মানে underemployment, open unemployment, employment, unemployment এইবোৰৰ ভিতৰত কি আহিব সেই বস্তুখিনি আমি এইটো প্যাৰাগ্ৰাফত ইনক্লুড কৰিম আৰু মই আগতেও মেনশন কৰিছো আমাৰ টিপস এন্ড ট্ৰিক্সৰ ভিডিওছতো মই মেনশন কৰিছো যাতে আপোনালোকে সকলো বস্তু এজ এ প্যাৰাগ্ৰাফ প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰক কোটো আপোনালোকে ৰৈ না যাব এজ এ প্যাৰাগ্ৰাফ লিংক কৰি সকলোখিনি প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিব যাতে বস্তুখিনি ৰেলেভেন্ট ওয়েজত লিংক হৈ থাকে throughout the essay. So observations are amat ki thakibo the number of unemployed persons in a developing country depends primarily on their size on the age composition of its population. So developing country, India is a developing country. India etiao development or stage ot ase, they are still developing. So here we are talking about developing country and their problem of unemployment. Yate ami developing country aru teonlokor unemployment or problem or kotha koisu mention korisu that is the number of unemployed persons in a developing country depends primarily on the size and age composition of its population. So সকলোতকৈ বেছি ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট কি হৈ পৰে সাইজ আৰু এজ কম্পোজিশন ইয়াৰে কান্ট্ৰিখনৰ পপুলেশনৰ সো ডেভেলপিং কান্ট্ৰিজত আনএমপ্লয়েড পাৰ্সনছৰ ৰেট কিহৰ লগত তুলনা কৰি কোৱা হৈছে সাইজ আৰু এজ কম্পোজিশন অফ ইটস পপুলেশন সো ইয়াতে আপোনালোকৰ আহি যাব কিছুমান ফেক্টস এন্ড ফিগাৰছৰ কথা ফৰ এক্সাম্পল আপোনালোকে ধুনিয়াকৈ ফেক্টস এন্ড ফিগাৰছ ইয়াতে ইনক্লুড কৰিব পাৰে all those facts and figures will include some kinds of data that will be taken from the government acknowledgement and other things so facts and figures ot apnaloke ki include koribo jate yate jihetu ami eta line mention korisu size aru age composition er logot related hoy developing country unemployed persons khini so ei gutei data khini apnaloke eitu portion ot এইটো প্যাৰাগ্ৰাফত ধুনিয়াকৈ ইনক্লুড কৰি দিব পাৰিব নেক্সট আহিব ইন দিস কনটেক্সট টু অবজাৰভেশন তো মই ইয়াতে দুটা অবজাৰভেশনৰ কথা মেনশন কৰিছো আপোনালোকে যিমান ডাটাস পাই হিমান ডাটাস ধুনিয়াকৈ প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিব পাৰে বিকজ মই আগতেও আপোনালোকক জনাইছো যে যিমানে আপোনালোকে ডাটাস প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিব যিমানে আপোনালোকে কোটস ডেফিনিশনস এক্সাম্পলস ৰেলেভেন্ট স্কিমস এন্ড অল প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিব হিমানে আপোনালোকৰ এছেখন বেছি ধুনিয়া হৈ পৰিব এন্ড ইট উইল বি মোৰ ৰেলেভেন্ট টু দা topic that we have been discussing so two observations are of the prime significance so yare duta observations they are of the prime significance the first one is developing countries like India already I have mentioned amar India khon hoise developing countries so the developing countries like India succeeded in sustainably reducing the death rates without bringing about a commensurate reduction in the birth rates but also created high present dependency ratios and rapidly expanding future labor ratios so India etia as a developing country just because they need a high amount of figure of employed people teonloke ki measure loise death rate ot reduce korise death rate to reduce korise logote employment er bahut khini schemes and other techniques uliaise jate teonlokor death rate to reduce hoy jay aru they can commensurate reduction in the birth rate as well kintu logote teonloke ratio to increase korise ki hor labor ratios khini jate future amar future jibur manhu thakibo future or jibur generations thakibo teonlokor karone it becomes easy for them for the access in the labor way so hetu hoise apnalokor first observation to second observation hobo relates to the impact of fertility decline so next observation regarding the unemployed and the population will be your observation relates to the impact of fertility decline so even if fertility rates were to decline its impact on labor force size and structure would be visible after considerable period of time so fertility decline or kotha yate koha ase that is your family planning and all yate dunia koi mention kori dibo pare apnalokor schemes board jibur amar sarkare uliai rakhise family planning and all or karone jate ইয়াতে birth rate control hok labor forces or size bur control hok aru pisole next generation or jate kono dhoroner problem na hok so here in this paragraph in the next paragraph we have discussed about having made these observations we now turn towards the aim of development for developing countries ite ami unemployment or kotha jihetu koi aso to tate apnalokor development tor kotha obviously ahibo karon jodi unemployment or kothat ami development ba developing countries or kotha nuhumau it will be a half of the thing so yate ami kotha batim development for the developing countries ami beleg na lage amar nijor country khone ekhon developing countries they are still developing they are still working on it so in developing countries most of the unemployment is structural so this is a very relevant point amar developing countries or most of the unemployment ki prakarar hoy structural hoy here the demand for labor falls short of employment so yate demand thikei thake kintu laborer shortage thake so here the demand for labor falls short of employment account of agricultural backwardness karon hokolute amar laborer dorkar pore because amar besibhag maximum people are engaged in agricultural work so jihetu teolok agricultural work ot basically মনোযোগ দিয়ে আমাৰ যেহেতু কৃষি প্ৰধান দেশ হয় তাতে এগ্ৰিকালচাৰৰ যেহেতু বেছিকে মন দিয়ে সো তাৰে একাউন্টত বাকি এমপ্লয়মেন্টৰ কাৰণে কমি যায় ৰিডিউস হৈ যায় আমাৰ লেবাৰ ফোৰ্সটো সো underdeveloped countries India presently suffers from structural unemployment so India as a developing countries আমাৰ main concern to কি হৈছে structural unemployment তেওঁলোকে আমাৰ দেশত এতিয়া বৰ্তমান structural unemployment or problem ase aru tate duta type ase which exist in both in the open and disguised form so ami open and disguised namote ami meaning to buji pau open and disguised ki hobo jot ami openly hey employment or effect dekha pam, unemployment or effect dekha pam, and in the disguise form means lukai thoka obostha jiburat amar employment or proyojon asile, but due to some reason there are less employed people and there is an unemployment. So now let's move to our next slide where we have discussed about structural unemployment. Iti ami agor slide tut structural unemployment or kotha mention korisu. So amar next slide ot ami structural unemployment or bikhoye okoman mention korim jate apnalokor essay khonot jitu bostu link ot apnaloke likhi ase, jitu link ot apnalokor soli ase, the flow needs not to be broken. Flow to thakibo lagibo essay khonot, flow in a synchronized way apnaloke hokolo bostu present koribo lagibo. So in the previous paragraph or in the previous slide ami structural unemployment or kotha discuss korisu. So yate ami structural unemployment or bikhoye okoman briefly discuss korim. So apart from structural employment, the phenomenon of the industrial recession in the last couple of decades has also introduced what is called cyclical unemployment. So structural unemployment or loge aru eta unemployment ase amar dekhot, that is your cyclical unemployment. However, this type of unemployment can be removed by anti-recessionary policies and by raising effective demand. So ami cyclical unemployment keneko reduce koribo paru, you have the idea for it, that is by removing anti-recessionary policies and by raising effective demand. To anti-recessionary policies ki hoise jetia recession er samoy thake amar, jetia amar economy tolole jay tetia amar unemployment obviously baribo. So amar kisuman policies uliabo lagibo jar through di recession nohoy, recession er samoy anti-recessionary policies ami implement koribo lagibo jar through di unemployment or problem to reduce koribo pare. Aru logote raising effective demand, jihetu ami agote mention kori ahisu je employment or demand thakileo koribo nware because they are mostly educated or they are mostly trained in sophisticated companies jitu amar yate kamot nahe. So effective demand jetia raise hobo tetia unemployment obviously naikia hobo. So hence structural unemployment remains the main principal element. So structural unemployment etiao ase amar portomanu soli ase. So structural unemployment to amar karone hokolutke dangor problem hoi porise for a developing country like India. So jetia apnaloke ei paragraph to mention koribo about the structural unemployment, apnaloke dunia ke bahiror kisuman kotha contrast and compare karone mention koribo pare. For the purpose of contrast and compare apnaloke tate mention kori dibo jate apnalokor structural unemployment in India and baki other states or ba baki other countries or kotha apnaloke dunia ke mention koribo pare. So in the next paragraph we have, for analytical purposes unemployment in the country may be through to exist in two forms. So analytical purpose jate government etu analysis koribo pare manhue buzi pai directly. So we have in a country we have two types of unemployment, that is urban and rural unemployment. So আমি প্রথমে পারলো structural unemployment, যিখিনি বস্তু আমি already discuss কৰিলো, already আপোনালোকৰ ইয়াতে mention কৰা হৈছে. So এতিয়া আমি discuss কৰিম about urban and rural unemployment. So urban and rural unemployment কি হৈছে? Urban unemployment includes the industrial unemployment and educated unemployment, while rural unemployment can be either open or disguised. Ami open and disguised or kotha already eta slide ot pai hiso, agor slide tot ami already mention koriso open aru disguised or kotha. So rural unemployment kenuka dhoronar thakibo pare, rural unemployment can be either open or disguised. Jibur apnaloke directly mention koribo pare, jibur apnaloke directly experience koribo pare, logote teuluk open mane disguised o thakibo pare. Disguised rupot jibur ami directly reduce koribo nwaro or ya fir realize o koribo nwaro. So urban unemployment ki hoy, tate industrial unemployment june kam nepai, june sob caliber thakiyo kam koribo napai, heibur ahibo apnalokor industrial unemployment. Aru logote educated unemployment, that is hokolure caliber ase, they have the education, they have the qualification, but then also they are not getting the proper job. Job teulukor caliber thakiyo, education thakiyo, proper knowledge thakiyo, teulukor kono dhoronor job nai. So most of the unemployment in urban areas is often open and undisguised. So amar urban areas or directly janibo para unemployment to hoise open aru disguised. So most of the unemployment in urban areas is open and undisguised. urban areas or to hoise amar rural areas ot asile open or disguised, and in the urban areas it is open and undisguised. So industrial unemployment in urban areas is on the rise despite the phenomenal expansion of the industrial sector during the plans. So jimane amar plans and schemes ulwa hoise industrial sector or then also there is a huge amount of unemployment. Industrial sector or bahut khini unemployment etiao relevant hoy ase, etiao prevail hoy ase jodio tar industrial sector or bahut plans and schemes dia hoise. So the circumstances which led to such eventually are many. So tare karone reason bahut khini ase jihetu ami already mention korilo je jimane schemes and plans nuliao kyo the circumstances are many due to which there are still some unemployment in the industrial sector. There has been rapid increase in the economically active population which has far outpaced the growth of economy. So the first reason is population growth jitu ami okoman agote mention korisilo population growth, family planning, fertility line hekhini amar sarkare schemes and kisuman plans uliai ase for the reducing the amount of population in the country. But etiao hey employment or unemployment or problem to soli as industrial sector because there has been rapid increase in the economically active population. To etia ki hoise just due to the rapid increase in the population that is in economical level amar economic koi population to outpace kori goise. That means the economy has been left behind due to the high rise of population in the country, and tar karone job provide kora hokoloke sombhob nohoy. Secondly ase population in urban areas. Secondly hobo population in urban areas has grown faster. This is the truth because hokolue bahiro pora ahiu or ya fir belegor manhu yate ahibo karone establish hobo karone wish kore, and for that reason people from the outskirts and from the same place they have the opportunity to have equal amount of labor. So yare manhu khiniye hok ya fir bahiror manhu khini ahi june establish hoy yate teonlukor kane employment or kuno scope nethake because the population is rising, increasing in a rapid way. Population hodai increase hoy ase, bahiror manhu ahi establish hoy ase in the search of jobs aru jar karone yate amar urban areas or population bahi joar karone kuno dhoronor job provide kora karone problem hoy ase. So the slow growth aru logote thakibo apnalokor problem to hoise the slow growth of industries has retarded the capacity of urban centers to absorb the surplus labor. Jihetu population grow hoy ase but in the same amount industries or growth decrease hoy ase. Decrease ya fir teonlukor kuno dhoronor increment nai hua. Population growth or logot homane industry bur growth nai hua he karone bahut khini labor unemployed hoy ase bortoman. So apnaloke eneke moi yate apnalokor karone tinita point include koriso, apnaloke dunia ke ekhini boholai mention koribo paribo aru logote if you have some other points, if you have some other perspective regarding this dunia ko apnaloke yate include kori dibo because urban and rural unemployment or karone apnaloke paragraph wise bahut khini bostu include koribo paribo. So next move to the next slide, that is your body part of the essay. The imperfect education system with its theoretical bias. So this is also a point for this is also a very relevant example regarding the unemployment. Apnalokor kane etu bahut besi relevant hoy jabo because from our childhood we are meant to be working. So amar agor pora etu biasness eta thake, theoretical biasness eta thake, that means pori huni tumi kam koribo lagibo, and that mindset, through that mindset we always carry on that ami kam koribo lagibo aru hetu bostute imperfect education system eta developed hoy because it's like they are producing machines june pisoloi goi khali kamot he dhyan dibo. So tar karoneo hokolue jihetu ami already mention korilu teonloke bahirot goi kisuman sophisticated companies or pora teonloke guidance loi he tate hiki ahe aru yate ahi same level or jobs napai jitue unemployment or develop kore. So the first one is imperfect education system with its theoretical bias. First problem to hoise amar education system or logot theoretical bias, lack of aptitude, maladjustments between demand and supply, that is the very true. আমাৰ ডিমান্ড আৰু সাপ্লাইৰ ভিতৰত আমি অকমান আগতে আগৰ স্লাইডত ডিসকাস কৰিছো ডিমান্ড আৰু সাপ্লাইৰ মাজত বহুত বেছি ডাঙৰ গ্যাপ আছে কাৰণ যিমান ডিমান্ড আছে এমপ্লয়মেন্টৰ হিমানখিনি সাপ্লাই নাই হোৱা আৰু যদিও সাপ্লাই হৈছে হেতু হিচাপত আমাৰ ইয়াতে ডিমান্ড ফুলফিল কৰিব পৰা কোনো ধৰণৰ ইন্ডাষ্ট্ৰিজ বা ওয়ার্কপ্লেস নাই বিল্ড হোৱা Supply of educated workers are some well-documented causes of educated unemployment. So, etu hoise amar educated unemployment or cause. This is very, very important for your perspective. So, ekhini apnaloke dhuniya koi monot rakhibo jate essay tut as a whole ami gutekhini present koribo paro. So, now let's move to the next points. Those are, let us now look at some aspects of rural unemployment. Ekhini thakil apnalokor educated unemployment or kotha. Now we will move to rural unemployment in our country. So seasonal unemployment logote aru eta unemployment ase that is your seasonal unemployment in the farm sector. Seasonal unemployment code hoy mainly in the farm sector and it is very normal occurrence in India because amar seasonally kam kore kisumane jeneke kisumane dhorok গৰমৰ দিনত হাজিৰা কৰিব গছে ঠিকা কাম কৰিব গছে তাৰ পিছত কোনোবাটো সিজনত নাপায় হেনুকা কাম কৰা তাৰ পিছত তেওঁলোকে আমাৰ স্পেশালি টি গাৰ্ডেনত কাম কৰা মানুহবোৰে যেতিয়া টি লিভস উঠাব হয় তেতিয়াহে তেওঁলোকে কাম কৰে বাকি সময়খিনি বেলেগ ধৰণৰ কাম কৰে এইবোৰ আপোনালোকৰ এক্সাম্পল হয় সিজনাল আনএমপ্লয়মেন্টৰ কাৰণ বাকি সময় তেওঁলোকে এনি থাকিব লগিয়া হয় তেওঁলোকৰ হাতত কোনো ধৰণৰ কাম নেথাকে Next, apnalokor tar ahibo Indian agriculture being a gamble with monsoon and the existence of a very small proportion of irrigated land ensures that the person working on unirrigated tracts remain unemployed during the dry months. So, amar yate monsoon or bahut dangor hand ase for improving or for increasing employment or unemployment because amar gute India amar weather condition to hoise monsoon season thake amar monsoon region hoy so jihetu jetia amar ta dry months ahe tetia khetiok bure unemployed hoy bohi thakibo loga hoy aru teolukor kane beleg dhoroner kiba kam puato okombhob hoy pore because teoluke season hisabe kam kore season hisabe teoluke dhan ruwe তেওঁলোকৰ নিজৰ খেতি বাতি কৰে কিন্তু যেতিয়া ড্ৰাই সিজন আহে या फिर মনসুন ইজ নট বিং ফেভৰেবল টু देम তেতিয়া তেওঁলোকৰ আনএমপ্লয়মেন্টত ভুগিবলগীয়া হয় সো দ্যাট কামস আন্ডাৰ সিজনাল আনএমপ্লয়মেন্ট অফ ইন্ডিয়া Next, you have a widely acknowledged fact about Indian culture is that it is characterized by the existence of considerable amount of surplus labor. So, amar eta acknowledged fact ase India's agricultural bikhoy that is bahut khini moi agote mention koriso amar agricultural oriented country hoy. So, agriculture oriented country jihetu hoy hokolure eta dharona ase je amar surplus labor ase kihot agricultural sector jihetu ami bhabi lon je agriculture sector or bahut khini labor ase so we don't need any kind of labor in other industrial purposes. So now we're going to discuss about the surplus amount of labor in our agricultural sector. So in green revolution belt, eto eta green revolution hosile, this is a revolution. So after that agricultural kotha bahut khini amar India bahut khini besi prevail hoy asile. So in green revolution belt, demand for wage labor has increased. Aru tar karone etia ki hoy gose demand for wage labor has increase wage labor mane june hazira kore thika kore teoluk manu has increased and agricultural labors have had to be brought to meet this demand so agote jihetu hokolwe agricultural dhyan disile tate besi gurutto disile but after the green revolution belt demand wage laborer kane besi hoy gose karon teoluke eta just point of time or leke he kam kore so eta agricultural labors or karone amar demand to meet nuhua hoise. So next you have, as already mentioned, most of the unemployment in India is structural. So ami agote mention koriso amar Indian unemployment to ki hoise basically aru mainly amar Indian unemployment to is very much structural. Aru yare cause bur it's needed deeper insight. Deeper insight means amar ভিতৰি বহুত খিনি কথা আছে যাৰ থ্ৰু দি আনএমপ্লয়মেন্ট ইন্ডিয়াত বিকজ ইটস এ ডেভেলপিং কান্ট্ৰি ইন্ডিয়া হৈছে এ ডেভেলপিং কান্ট্ৰি তো ইয়াতে আনএমপ্লয়মেন্টৰ বহুত খিনি সমস্যা আছে আৰু সেইখিনি বুজিব কাৰণে বহুত খিনি বস্তু ডিপলি আমি মেনশন কৰিব লাগিব তো নেক্সট স্লাইডত আমি এতে মেনশন কৰিছো যে evidently the demographic factor has played a major role in contributing to the rapid growth of labor force in the country since independence so main eta problem বা main eta issue হৈছে that is the demographic factor and demographic factor a major role play korise in contributing to the rapid growth of labor force. After the independence, demographic factor e bahut khini amak sahay korise. It played a major role in contributing to the labor force of the country. However, in the Indian context, social factors affecting the supply of labor are as important as demographic factor. Jihetu India ekhon socially developed country, developed bili ami yate kele kosu karon yate ami mention koribo lagibo je social amar country khonot society to bahut besi monojog dia hoy. We always prefer to live in a society, so we are always fond of the society that we lived in. Amar hokolue hodai society khonor logot mili solibo bisaru. So unemployment aro eta reason hoise apnalokor Indian context of society khon ba social factors bor bahut besi important hoy. So ami hekini mani solute unemployment or karone social factors e bahut dangor role play kore. It's affecting the supply of labor as an important as demographic factors, because ami okolwe jano ami jodi menial kiba job koru, menial kiba jodi job koribole jao amar mindot hodai etu bostu mention thakibo je society ki kobo, society accept koribo ne nokore. So that comes under the social factors affecting the supply of labor to our country. Jetia apnaloke social factors or kotha likhibo, please add some examples there. Apnaloke dhuniya koi kisuman examples tate point out kori dibo paribo, examples kisuman mention kori dibo jate it becomes relevant to the topic. So the emergence of educated women has added a new dimension to the supply of labor force. So agote jihetu amar kono dhoronor women education nasile ba women education er kane kono dhoronor perspective nasile, to agote okol labor force to asile male people. Etia both the genders have equal amount of education, equal amount of caliber, equal amount of quality. So it has been added as a new dimension to the supply of labor force, because now we have co-education, co-working place. So yate apnalokor hodai women education e yate eta notun dimension labor force or karne khuli dise. Because agote jihetu kono dhoronor women education ba women empowerment or women labor or kotha nasile, but etia irrespective of the gender they work as a whole, teonloke ekeloge kam kore. So yate educated women oyo eta bahut dangor role play kore supply of labor force. These women have a changed perception of employment and they have come forward in a big way to compete with men for the few jobs available. So yate apnalokor eta kotha mention ase je we have a few jobs, amar hatot few jobs ase, ketaman jobs ase jitu hokolwe koribo bisarise. So women labor ahibor pora hetu eta problematic hoi goise teonlokor karone, because now that same job has to be divided equally among male and female employee. So the breakdown of the judgmani system of tradition order, upcoming new occupation and the yate ami eta traditional kotha mention koriso, apnaloke etu boholai likhi dibo, breakdown of the judgmani system of tradition. So it was a tradition that was followed from previous years. Amar agor years or pora judgmani system follow hoy asile, but now it has been breakdown. Judgmani system to totally breakdown kora hoise aru tar karone upcoming new occupations and expansion, communication and transport facilities have increased the mobility of labor. Judgmani system breakdown huar pisot yate apnalokor occupation, expansion, communication, transport or facilities bor increased hoi goise labor khetrot. So mobility of labor has been increased after the breakdown of the judgmani system. Apnaloke etu important point hoy, apnaloke jetia unemployment or uporat ese likhibo ei point to nishchoy mention koribo. So next we have, these has resulted in an exodus from rural dwellings to urban locales, thereby expanding the labor supply in urban areas. So etu after judgmani system breakdown amar karone ki hoy porise problem to, it's like a problem only karon kyo urban area, rural area hokolo manukhini ekeloge ahi pele eta jiman khini job amar hatot ase hei job khinie follow koribo karone ya fir hei job khini logot related jimane employment thakibo hekhini lobo bisarise. So now it becomes a chaotic, gutei system to chaotic hoi porise, gutei khini chaos hoi porise, because equal amount of labor distribute korato teonlokor karone tan hoi porise. Next you have evidently economic development in cities has failed to cope up in providing additional jobs to this new urban entrance. So jihetu city manhue jobor akhat ahe ahi establishment loy, kintu teonloke kisuman additional jobs include koribo karone ba additional jobs teolukok dibo karone azileke para nai jar karone kisuman unemployment or reason hoi porise ba acceptable jobs kisuman provide nokorato jene koi if someone has come with all the degrees and all the caliber kunubai jodi bahiror pora from the village area kunubai jodi bahiror pora gute qualification and gute khini loi ahi city ekhonat establish hoise but he or she is not finding any kind of job teoluke jodi kunu dhoroner job nai pua then teolukeo city khonat eni thakibo lagibo aru providing additional jobs is being a very new types of unemployment because jihetu teoluke kunu additional job provide koribo para nai teolukok bahira manukhinik hei bostutoe unemployment ako besi rise kori ase amar city areas ot so does in a way at least some unemployment in the cities can be definitely characterized as a spillover of unemployment in the countryside so yate a line to keep mention korise a line to ki bujabo bisarise je jikhini unemployment amar city areas ot ase hekhini amar rural areas or ba countryside or pora ahi okoman yate bop porise spillover is mean spillover mane hoise bop pora ba city kizwa that is countryside or jibure job pua nai countryside or jibure kam nai pua teoluke city ahi fele establish hoise aru teoluke jodi job na paise tate teoluk city roi goise so it has developed the city unemployment so the size of employment in any country depends considerably on the level of development that is very true amar country ekhonor development or uporot amar country employment to bahut depend kore আমি বারে বারে মেনশন কৰিছো যে ইন্ডিয়া হৈছে আমাৰ ডেভেলপিং কান্ট্ৰি সো ইয়াতে ডেভেলপমেন্ট হৈ আছে বৰ্তমান ইটস নট বিন ফিনিশড আমাৰ ডেভেলপমেন্ট এতিয়াও শেষ নাই হোৱা সো যেহেতু শেষ নাই হোৱা ইয়াতে ডেভেলপিং কান্ট্ৰিজ হৈ আছে সেইকাৰণে আমাৰ ইয়াতে এমপ্লয়মেন্টৰ প্ৰবলেমটো বহুত বেছি কৈ আছে কাৰণ এখন কান্ট্ৰি ডেভেলপমেন্টৰ ওপৰত বহুত বেছি নিৰ্ভৰ কৰে আমাৰ এমপ্লয়মেন্ট সো এজ দ্য কান্ট্ৰি ডেভেলপস এ লাৰ্জ প্ৰপোৰ্শন অফ ৱৰ্ক হাউস গেটস এবজৰ্বড আৰু যিমানে কাৰণ কিয় যিমানে কান্ট্ৰিখন ডেভেলপড হৈ আহিব যিমানে কান্ট্ৰিখনে উন্নতি কৰিব হিমানে large proportion of work house bur ahibo establish hobo aru tar pisot bahut manhuye tate employment pabo this has happened in India too but not at the desired rate amaru yate bahut khini MNCs ase MNCs hoise multinational companies jibure yare manuhok bahut khini employment dise but etiao jihetu teolok developing stage ot ase yateo iman besi MNCs nai june amar unemployment or problem to cope up koribo pare so এখিনি হসে আপোনালোকৰ ডেমোগ্ৰাফিক ফ্যাক্টৰ তাৰ পিছত আমাৰ ইয়াতে থাকিব আপোনালোকৰ সোশ্যাল ফ্যাক্টৰ এখিনি গুটেই আমি ইয়াতে থৰলি ডিসকাস কৰিছো আপোনালোকৰ জি থাকে সেই বস্তুখিনি আপোনালোকে ধুনিয়াকে থৰলি ইয়াতে মেনশন কৰিব পাৰিব অৰ এড কৰিব পাৰিব so next you have moreover Indian planners seem to have overlooked the argument that in the early phase of development there exists a real conflict between the objectives of economic growth and employment so amar etia jiman government a planning banai ase scheme logai ase to etia eta conflict hoi gose kihor uporot that is your objectives of economic growth to amar economy keneke growth koribo aru ami kenuka dhoroner employment inculcate korim hei bostutur uporot bahut khini conflict arise hoi goise so another argument relates to the choice of technology mix aru next argument to hoise যে আমাৰ টেকনলজি কেনুকা হ'ব because agriculture agote hal baisile goru loisile kodal loisile ite tractor ahise tate notun notun technology inculcate kora hoise to ite labor force komi ahise labor force jodi agriculture komi ahise tena hole tate notun dhoroner kisuman problem rise hobo that is farmers bur ideally bohibo logia hobo aru ideally bohar loge loge unemployment aru barhi jabo so technology mix to amar society amar employment area keneke kam koribo hetu eta argumentor bikhoy hoi porise though no longer very fashionable the argument rests on the premise that for a labor abundant country like India labor intensive techniques of production should have been employed which has not happened to last ot gute conflict or pisot etai conflict ulaise je India nisna ekhon labor intensive country enuka ekhon country jot hangatik dhoroner ba bahut dangor amount of labor ase labor abundant country like India bili yate mention kora hoise bahut dhoroner labor ase bahut manuhor knowledge ase bahut manuhor quality and caliber ase kintu yate kunu dhoroner techniques inculcate kora hua nai employment to boruar karone aji loke tenuka dhoroner kunu yate technique nai intensive techniques nai jar through die notun notun employment or rasta ulabo pare The situation has been because of skewed administrating of factor prices in favor of capital. The distorted factor price structure encourages greater capital absorption at the cost of labor. Aru amar structure e ki korise laborer posa kati baki structural development or uporot basically mon dia hoise. So yate mention ase structure encourages greater capital absorption at the cost of labor. So it becomes a high risk for the laborer kane etu bahut besi high risk hoy jay because payment kom thake karon the company and the industrial sector e kihor uporot besi dhyan de, that is the structural encouragement. Teoluke structure to bonuat, structure to develop korat basically dhyan diye. So as already mentioned, the education system in India is also responsible for our predicament. So ekhini apnalokor ahibo conclusion or homoyon ba way forward ot ahibo ei bostu khini apnaloke conclusion ot include koribo paribo these two paragraph conclusion ya fir way forward to end the essay in a way jate agor flow tute gute essay khon thoroughly continue hoy jay. So as already mentioned, the education system in India is also responsible for our predicament. So amar education system o jiman amar schemes and plans ase government or hekhinir logote amar education system o bahut besi responsible hoy unemployment or karone, unemployment factor or karone, because we have been following the Macaulay scheme which makes no attempt at development of human resources. So amar eta scheme ase, that is Macaulay scheme, aru hei scheme to e ketiao human resources or development or gurutto nidiye. Macaulay scheme or mote jiman pare machine or dore manhue kam koribo lagibo aru productivity naikia hoy. Ate কোনো ধৰণৰ productivity নাথাকে, ইয়াতে আপোনালোকে full hour work কৰিলো আপোনাৰ নিজৰ কোনো ধৰণৰ productivity নাথাকে, তাতে কিছুমান ধৰা বন্ধা নিয়ম থাকে where you can explore yourself. আৰু সেই স্কিমটোৰ কাৰণে আমাৰ ইয়াতে unemployment বেছি বাঢ়ি আহিছে because of the work culture or the work environment. বহুত মানুহে নিজৰ thorough ideas and perspective লগাব পাৰা নাই due to Macaulay scheme and they are leaving their job as well. So it is structured to provide clerks and lower level executives to the government. So Macaulay scheme or main structure to ki asile clerk aru lower level executives government officials ba government or karone provide kora, and government's needs are limited. Aru amar government or needs bur limited hoy because teoluke jihetu payment নকৰে বা পেমেন্টৰ সময়ত প্ৰবলেম হয়, সো তেওঁলোকৰ লিমিটেশন এটা আছে, তেওঁলোকে এটা লিমিটত মানুহ হায়াৰ কৰে আৰু just because we are following Macaulay scheme বহুত খিনি unemployed person ৰৈ যায়গে. So thus those who receive this kind of education and according to Gunnar Myrdal not only inadequately educated but also wrongly educated. তো এইখিনি কথা আমাৰ এজন বিখ্যাত ব্যক্তিয়ে কৈছিলে, তেওঁৰ নাম হৈছে গুনাৰ মিড্ৰেল। তেওঁৰ আমি ইয়াতে কথাখিনি মেনশন কৰিছো, তেওঁৰ মতে এনুকা এডুকেশন সিস্টেমে কি প্ৰডিউস কৰি আছে ইনএডিকুৱেট এডুকেশন নহয় বাট অলসো সাম ৰংলি এডুকেটেড। সো জি জেনাৰেশন টু যোনটো জেনাৰেশন আপোনালোকৰ ইয়াতে মেচিনৰ দৰে চলাব, যিটো জেনাৰেশনক আপোনালোকে মেচিনৰ দৰে follow koribo karne hikabo, hey generation to totally inadequately educated aru wrongly educated hobo. So apnaloke ekhini bostu explain koribo pare who was Gunnar Myrdal, who was other person who have been giving explanations or who have been giving definition regarding unemployment. Apnaloke ekhini nijor conclusion dhuniya koi add koribo pare. So aru eta paragraph yate moi include korisu for your conclusion purpose, that is unemployment has a very high linkage with poverty and income distribution. This is very, very important. It have a high linkage with poverty and income distribution. Moi agote mention korisu income distribution or khetrot teolukor inadequate development hoy, jar folot teolukor income to bahut besi komi thake aru tare folote manhue job eri unemployed hoi thakibo lage because they have that quality, they have that caliber, but teoluke job nepai. It not only leads to tremendous economic hardship but also a traumatized individual existence. So that is very true. If you are not employed, if you are not being in a job, apni jodi kono dhoroner job kori thaka nai tena hole it become a very traumatized experience for our individual existence. So it reduces the self esteem of the individual and inevitably leads to his alienation from the society. Apnaloke nije mon koribo because etu amar reality, etu fact hoy, amar nijor society pora lua eta example yate present kora hoise jot moi mention korisu je without being employed, without being a job, having a job, manhu alienated hoy jay. Alienated mane অকলহৰীয়া হৈ যায় তেওঁলোকে অকলহৰীয়া হয় সোসাইটিৰ পৰা এলিয়েনেটেড হৈ যাব আৰু যিটোৱে mostly traumatic experience of lead kore. So the roots of the current problems of youth unrest, juvenile delinquency aru ebure kam hoise amar ekhar kotha ase hindi that is khali dimag shaitan ka ghar hota hai. So hei bostu khini amar unemployment ot bahut khini prevalent hoy because tare folote তেওঁলোকে কোনো কামত এংগেজ হৈ থাকা নাই তেওঁলোকৰ মাইন্ড টু আনৰেষ্ট হৈ আছে আৰু এই কাৰণে এতিয়াৰ ইউথৰ মাজত আমি বহুত ধৰণৰ ইউথ আনৰেষ্ট জুভেনিয়েল ডেলিকুৱেন্সি জুভেনিয়েল মানে সৰু বাচ্চায়ে ক্ৰাইম কৰা দেখা গৈছে আৰু গ্ৰোইং ক্ৰাইম ৰেটস ডাঙৰ হক সৰু হক সকলোৱে ক্ৰাইমত বেছিকৈ এংগেজড হৈ পৰিছে বিকজ তেওঁলোকৰ কাৰণে পইচা আৰ্ন কৰাটো মেইন ৰিজন হৈ পৰিছে লাগা হলে জেনেকে আৰ্ন কৰিব নলাকিয় can to a large extent to be traced back to the problem of unemployment. So ei gutei khini amar kihor problem or main points hoy that is the unemployment. Jimane sakori na thakibo jimane apnalokor kane scope na thakibo himane the crime rates of youth unrest juvenile delinquency developed hoy thakibo. So as mentioned earlier unemployment underemployment in the countryside leads to urban migration. So jihetu country ba village side or countryside ba village or jihetu kuno dhoroner employment nai so teuluke urban areas ot migrate kore aru tateu kuno dhoroner sakori nohole kuno dhoroner industrial development nohole unemployed hoy thakibo logia hoy. So this put an immense strain on civic amenities to these areas, thereby reinforcing the spirit of despondency and alienation. So yate ahi hokolue alienated hoy thakibo logia hoy because amar country jihetu developing country hoy jiman khini amak dorkar porisile industrial development or ba employment or sector of schemes and plans amak government e etiao provide koribo nai para. So yate apnaloke essay to conclude koribo paribo yate dhuniya koi apnaloke conclusion mention koribo and if you want apnaloke nijor point of view yate dhuniya koi mention kori dibo paribo jate apnalokor essay khon relevant hoy moi bare bare koi asu repeatedly mention kori asu je আপনার এসে খন রেলেভেন্ট হব লাগিব আপোনালোকৰ এক্সাম্পলস বোৰ রেলেভেন্ট এন্ড টু দা পয়েন্ট থাকিব লাগিব আৰু সকলো বস্তু প্যাৰাগ্ৰাফত প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিব যাতে দেখিবও ভাল হয় আৰু আপোনালোকৰ এসে যেটো ফ্লো হয় হেতু কেতিয়াও যাতে ব্ৰেক ডাউন নহয় So আমি already কিছুমান government schemes or কথা কিছুমান plans or কথা discuss কৰিছিলো মই বাৰে বাৰে mention কৰিছো যে government এ কিছুমান যোজনা উলাইছে আমি ইয়াতে scheme আৰু plan or জাগাত যোজনা বুলি mention কৰা হৈছে so হেবোৰ হৈছে জৱাহৰ रोजगार योजना নেহৰু रोजगार योजना etc যিবোৰে employment বা unemployment নাইকিয়া কৰাৰ কাৰণে help কৰি আছে So, কিন্তু এই যোজনাবোৰৰো কিছুমান problematic points আছে যেনুকা হৈছে তেওঁলোকে ডাইৰেক্ট assault on poverty related peoples ৰ কাৰণে directly open হয় আৰু যিহেতু directly open হয় সকলোৱে তাৰে ওপৰত গুটেই বস্তুখিনি লৈ লব বিচাৰে এবাৰতে সো সেই বস্তুখিনি আমি স্ট্ৰিমলাইন কৰিব লাগিব আৰু সাপ্লেন্টেড কৰিব লাগিব ধুনিয়াকৈ thoroughly implant কৰিব লাগিব তেতিয়াহে যোজনাবোৰ কামত আহিব otherwise it will be a failure so streamline কিয় কৰিব লাগিব because these plans have a tendency to overlap obviously because যিমানে plans বোৰ আপোনালোকে উলিয়াই থাকিব গভৰ্নমেন্টে হিমানে মানুহৰ reduce unemployment reduce what কয় হেতু বস্তু বেছিকৈ উলাই পৰিব যে কিমানখিনি amount of unemployment ase unemployed people ase aro hei hokoluwe bostu to pabo bisaribo aro hetue overlap kori jabo so these plans need to be streamlined so that gutei khini thoroughly in a flow solid koi thake aro they are managed by unmotivated uncommitted and corrupt personnel aro jibure heibur bostu manage kori ase teonuke nijor khini basically gurutto di ase because yate uncommitted unmotivated person corrupt personally jetia manage koribo jabo tetia belegor development nohoy nijor development or uporot beshi dhyan dibo so all these things need to be streamlined by the government itself and they do not have a clear line of action so ami bahut dekhisu bahut yojna ene pori ase khali pori ase because teonukor kono clear line of action nai just implement korise aru hei bostu khini ketiao properly manuhor tat goe na pale so as they are incapable of rising to the challenge in any case they have to be supplemented by a vigorous attack at the root of the disproportionate rise in labor force moi jihetu already mention korilu je jimane etu bostu besikoi ulai ahibo overlap kori jabo aru labor force or problem to besikoi honmukhot ahibo jetia leke gutei yojna bor plan and schemes bor streamline kora nohoy tetia leke unemployed problem bor labor force or problem bor ahi thakibo so aru hokolutke dangor problem to hoise population explosions hetu hoise apnalokor population explosions because jiman scheme ulabo manue himan dharonor সকলো স্কিমছ খিনি পাব বিচাৰিব আৰু তাৰে লুভত পপুলেশ্যন explosion hoi thakibo. So however, even the most effective population control drives will take a long time to overcome the population momentum. Therefore, in the short run, the need of vocationalizing of education and expanding self-employment cannot be overemphasized. So yate ami eta measure dibo paru je population momentum to time lobo hetu bostu thik hobo karone. So etiar karone amar kam hobo lagibo vocationalizing of education and vocationalize education humabo lage. Vocationalize education hoise jot apnaloke nijor ichha mate kam ki koribo kenuka dhoroner employment apnaloke bisare kenuka dhoroner job bisare apnalokor ideas ki hoy apnalokor hobbies ki hoy skill ki hoy tar through di apnaloke study kori pisot goi nijor karone kam koribo pare. And next is your self-employment. Jetia apnaloke vocationalization of education hobo, vocational education hikibo, education through di hikha lobo, tetia self-employment or rasta khulibo aru tetia ami government or uporot basically depend hoi thakibo logia nohobo, because then we will be able to earn our livelihood through self-employment. So these are the main factors, these are the main things regarding unemployment in our country or as a whole. So ekhini bostu apnaloke thoroughly porhi jabo, ekhini bostu thoroughly continue koribo jate ei bostu khini apnaloke thoroughly mention koribo pare nijor asset. And if you have any other things to discuss, apnalokor ta jodi an kono dhoroner bostu thake yate mention koribo karone nijor ichha mote dhuniya koi mention koribo pare. Aru লাষ্টত আপোনালোকে কিবা আপোনালোকৰ সাজেশনস থাকে কিবা আপোনালোকৰ প্ৰবলেম থাকে কমেন্ট বক্সত আপোনালোকে কমেন্ট কৰিব। সো আজি কাৰণে আনএমপ্লয়মেন্ট ইয়াতে শেষ কৰিছো। থ্যাংক ইউ।